Alright guys, as you can tell from the picture, I got the wheels kind of set up distance wise where they're going to be. They're going to be at 42 inches from the center axle to center axle. It's actually the same distance as what the Honda Grom uses. Anyway, I've decided I'm going to start building this frame. I'm going to start here at the rear. As you can see, I've got the rear wheel kind of propped up here, got the axle put through. Because this motor, the engine on this is going to be mounted permanently to the frame. It's not going to be able to move. Like a go-kart engine, you can actually slide it back and forth and adjust the chain. I won't be able to do that on this one. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to build the adjuster into the rear part of the frame right here. So what I'm going to do, got some extra tubing here. This is the same size as the axle diameter, so I can make spacers just like this. And I'm going to get some 1/4 inch plate. And that 1/4 inch plate, I'm going to make an oval hole in it so it'll slide back and forth. That'll allow the wheel to be adjusted backwards and forwards as needed. I'm going to get these measurements taken right now and start cutting. Alright, so here's my metal. Here's what the plan is. I measured the distance the axle slides on a regular motorcycle and then on the donor dirt bike, which is a smaller bike. The axle has got about the hole that it slides in is about 1.5 to 2 inches. I'm going to do the full 2 inches. It'll give me a 2-inch kind of oval here, allow the axle to slide back and forth in. This is a 3-inch wide piece of metal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this 3 inches by 4 inches long. That should give me a little bit of extra playroom if I need to modify it, do anything different. But I'm going to cut out 2 4-inch long pieces off this strip and go from there. Two pieces cut, more or less the same size. The pieces are all cut out. Next step here is I'm going to measure this axle. It's in millimeters. I believe this is a 15 millimeter axle here. Yeah, so that's 15 millimeters. So what I need to do is this hole needs to be 15 millimeters wide. I'm going to drill a couple of holes, and then I'm going to file it and make that into one long oval like I was saying. Alright, I'm going to find a drill bit and get to drilling on these. Alright, you can see my line right here. That is the line that I've scribed for the center between here and here, and then I've got 3 center punches that I've centered right here. That's going to be for my drill bit. So I'm going to drill a hole here, 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 and like I said, I'm going to grind out or cut out, kind of make that oval shape for the axle to slide back and forth in. Alright, there you have it. 3 evenly spaced holes. Well, mostly evenly spaced. Just going to grind out, cut out the middle pieces of metal here. That'll make it one long, like I said, kind of oval shape for that axle to slide back and forth in. There it is. Now to make another one. Cool, so we got the mounts made. As you can tell, I'll be able to slide back and forth, adjust the chain, very little free play there. So that's looking good. Only issue now is that with it pulled tight, you can see that I've still got clearance over here, not enough threads to tighten down the nut. So what I need to do is I'm going to add a little bit of spacers on the back side of each plate, spread these out just a little bit further. Basically we need to get this piece to come out here, that way when the nut's tightened down, it's actually clamping. We'll be good to go. Alright, so the distance I need to take up is 0.922 inches. What I've done is I've marked half of that. I'm going to cut that, and accounting for the saw blade width that is. I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to measure over again and cut it again. That way I have two even spacers, and should keep everything nice and even. Alright, got the spacers made. Here they are, two of them. Time to see if these all line up here. Spacer's going to go right there. Just like that. So it's going to space out this plate a little further from the hub. Exactly what I was looking for. This is a lock nut, so I need to make sure the end of it threaded onto the axle, which it's going to when I tighten it down. And I've got a little bit more clearance here. Anyway, looks good. So before I can keep working my way forward from the back of the bike, I need to get the forks done. Reason being is I need to have the proper angle on the steering stem so I know how long to make the backbone of the frame. So what we need to do here is I need to make more spacers to fill in this gap. This gap's going to be about 3 inches. So I'm going to need two 1.5 inch spacers. And once the spacers are put on, I'm actually going to be welding the forks directly to this, and the forks will go on up towards the handlebars. Spacers are made. Let's see how we did. That's what we were looking for. Nice and snug. That ought to work. So, got the spacers made for the front wheel here. Pretend this is a fork tube. What I'm going to do here is I've already decided that I want this angle for the steering stem to be about 30 degrees or 60 degrees depending on which way you're measuring it. So I'm guessing this piece is a little over 3 feet long. I'm going to cut these about 3 feet, these fork tubes real quick to give me an idea. That way we can get the measurement from the basically where the steering stem is going to be. Back and down to the wheel, so we get to cutting and making the actual backbone for the frame. Gives you an idea of what this is going to look like. This mounts on right here, same as the other side. What we're going to have to do is notch out the end of this tube to accept this spacer, and we're going to weld all the way around it, and that'll be the fork mount for this axle on the front wheel. Alright, so check this out. This is the size of the spacer, the front axle spacer, that I need to attach to the end of the tubing like so for the forks. And I just happen to have a hole saw that's the same size. So I'm going to try to stick this in the little drilling vise, then use the hole saw to cut down through the end of it to make a notch to fit this, which should be about perfectly. So here we go. Alright, it turned out pretty good. As you can tell, that mouth fits in. There's actually kind of press fit in there right now. I wanted to give it as much of a mouth as I could, to make sure that I could weld more and make this strong. This tube's a little bit thinner than the fork tube is. But that'll give me a lot of weld surface. Be able to fuse these pieces together real tight. I just need to do it on the other side, and I'll have my fork ends made. Got the ends in. Really happy with how they turned out. Just got to weld around all the edges here, and they'll be one. They'll be good for mounting. Haven't got them welded up tonight. I'm not going to get around to doing that. Not tonight, today, anyway. But check it out. I made my first set of forks. They're still separated. Obviously, I don't have a triple tree in here yet, but anyway, it looks pretty good. I'm just going to get them squared up, and I'll tack them into place, and I'll weld them. And of course, once I put the triple trees on here, that'll keep it rigid at the top. Axle keep them rigid at the bottom. And we're looking good. Angle should be right around right there is where I'm thinking of putting the steering stem angle at. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe on this. Make sure you keep up to date. This is video 1 of the build. I have no idea how many more to come, but stay tuned and keep checked out. Thanks, guys.